It's time to go beyond the headlines, cause I don't put in overtime just so I can headline. Okay, now it's Fox Sports, I'm live with Renee. Going hard every day, sports rapping every play. Different segments for your favorites, coming at you daily with positive vibes. Yeah, we some game changers. Basketball, football, soccer, with different interviews. You never know who may pop up. Listen, only on Beyond the Headlines. This is Beyond the Headlines.
Joining us now, we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers reporter, Casey Phillips, joining the show. Casey, welcome to Beyond the Headlines with Renee Washington.
Great. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, before we even get into everything that is going on in Tampa Bay, I first have to ask, especially since I've been asking everyone, what is your new normal around COVID-19?
Yeah, that's a fun question right about now. So I had to build myself a set in my apartment so I can now add set builder to my resume, and had to order one of those tripods and ring lights to hold the phone, and had to learn how to record Skype interviews and Zoom interviews, and just have really been figuring out how to do videos as much as possible from home. It's been a very interesting time.
And it's funny because I have been hearing a lot of people that have been talking about they now have new jobs to add to the resume, whether it's a parent now becoming like a teacher, since you have to teach your kids, or in your case, becoming a set designer, producer, cameraman, all that.
Exactly.
and that's awesome. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I just was saying that I think that that's kind of one of the good points. It can be one of the more challenging points of all of this, but it is really nice to just see what you're capable of, and being innovative and finding ways to do your job. And who knows, maybe it can even make us all better at our jobs whenever we do get a chance to go back to normal.
I hope so. Fingers crossed. So I'm so happy that you're able to join the show because, of course, with all the lack of sports that we've been having across the coronavirus, one thing that we have not been having is a lack of discussion in the NFL, especially around Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. So I'm curious to know, since you're behind the scenes and working with the team, even from a virtual stance, but still working closely with everything going on. Talk to us about the news around Tom Brady coming to Tampa Bay from what you were involved in.
Oh, I mean, just complete excitement, that it is so cool to get a chance, especially in these times, to have something that brings your fan base and your city such excitement. And that's really what we saw. It was just, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. This is incredible. We're getting the GOAT, that was just over and over.
Mm-hmm.
The phrase GOAT everywhere, whether it was on social media or on TV. And I'm getting calls and texts from people that are from all over the country, people I haven't even talked to in forever, just being like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening to you. And it's just so cool to see how, we've had great players and great things happen, but nothing caused a stir like this. And it really was an incredible thing to get to be a part of. And it was just so sad that it had to be in a time when we are all distanced and in our homes, that we didn't get a chance to kind of celebrate as a Buccaneer family in our building. And but it was really nice to get a chance to help, give some excitement to the fans and to the people of the city while we're all dealing with a difficult situation.
Yes, yeah, I'm sure that your phone was probably blowing up because I know you're getting the GOAT. Like that's as you say, like that's exactly the biggest thing. It's like, holy smokes, I know a lot of us were talking about, and in the conversations that I've been involved in, is like, is Tom Brady going to retire? Is he going to finish with New England? And then once that letter went out that he was leaving New England, I was like, oh shoot, now where to? Like, now what are we going to see happen? And to see the way that everybody just kind of, whether regardless of what side, if you're excited or not excited, Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay just took over. It was everybody was talking about and has been talking about it. So for you being up close and personal, definitely, I'm sure that was such like a surreal moment to be able to now be able to cover and get these stories out and get out what Tampa Bay is doing. So
Yeah, exactly.
now, yes, go ahead.
I think that this is just kind of your dream as a reporter, is a story that everyone already wants to hear about, and you getting a chance to be a part of it. That this is just one of those things that everybody hopes to get to do. That you hope you get to cover the greatest of all time in any sport, in any situation. And I really am excited that this is something that I get to do, and it is going to just be so exciting. That first time we finally all get to be back in the stadium. That first time that he's going to be in a Bucs jersey in Raymond James Stadium, hearing those Bucs fans, like that's one of those things we're all kind of holding on to during this time, is that we can't wait for that to become a reality.
Yes, now let's hope that the coronavirus lets us get back to sports soon so we can make this a reality and we can see this happen. But definitely, I mean, last year the Bucks were, under 500 team, and now already there has been conversations around them being a Super Bowl potential team. So in rebuild mode now, to build those pieces around Tom Brady. That's something that we've been hearing a lot of now. Okay, what pieces can be put in place, especially with the draft coming up? So I'm curious to know, with the latest rumors around the Bucks potentially trading up in the draft to be able to get an offensive tackle, what have you been hearing on that end in terms of potential draft moves to prepare to continue to build around Tom Brady?
Yeah, so the thing that I really loved about when the announcement was made that Tom Brady was joining our team is that it really showed that he saw that this is not a team that needs to be rebuilt in any sort of way, that he sees this as a team that is already, a contender. And that's something that those of us who've been covering it really closely, we had been saying for a long time. If we saw all these games that were so close and really it was just one or two things going a different way that could have changed everything about the outcome. And we've known how close we've been internally, and it was so great to see that it wasn't just us saying that people on the outside, that as he watched our games, as he learned about our team, he felt the same way. So yeah, I do think that adding him was massive. And yeah, I mean, really everyone's been talking about the idea of an offensive lineman maybe being the number one need in the draft in that first round. And that's one of the few, if only, areas that there is a bit of an opening currently. And that's the great news, is that we're not in a position where there are these glaring holes in this team. I mean, it is a very well put together team, and really you're just kind of wanting, a lot, maybe some depth at some positions. But what's great is this draft does work really well with that there's a lot of great offensive line talent. And while we do have, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, we've got some really great wide receiver talent. There might be some room for some depth there. And of course, this is a draft where you could get an incredible wide receiver in a mid round. So it works out pretty well for the things that would go along with bringing in Tom Brady, happen to be the things that this draft is really known for.
Yes, and that's exactly it. I know, looking at this roster, and that's something that I honestly can admit I was not paying attention as much to the depth and talent that the Bucks that you guys have already, until I saw Tom Brady come in the mix, and I'm like, wait a minute, who is he throwing to? Godwin, Evans. You've got Ronald Jones as his running back. Their pieces are already in place around him, which is something that we saw he was lacking in New England, especially at the end of his career there. So yes, the pieces are absolutely in place, and it is, as you mentioned, a wide receiver heavy draft. So now you have the potential to bring in even another talented receiver. But I have actually heard another rumor, and again, rumors, but Rob Gronkowski, I gotta ask. There's speculation of him potentially coming out of retirement, joining you guys at Tampa Bay. Have you heard anything about this, and any sense that this could be true, or is this truly just a rumor that people are hoping to see a Gronk Brady reunion on the field and see them back playing together?
Yeah, thankfully it is far above my pay grade whether or not that's a decision that would be happening. And again, unfortunately, being stuck at home, not really privy to some of the whisperings of what would normally happen in the office. But I think that if you look at our roster, we have OJ Howard, we have Cam Brate, we've got some incredible tight ends already. So that's not really a position of need for us. And I think that, anytime with Gronk and Brady, that's a fun thing for people to talk about. Who knows the amount of truth to it, but I know that this offseason, our front office and our coaches have talked a lot and very highly about OJ Howard and Cam Brate, and even Tom Brady himself has shouted both of them out as reasons why he thought this was a great place for him to come. So, I mean, who knows? Weird things can happen all the time, but I don't know that that's really a position of too much need currently right now.
Yeah, when I saw the reports come out about Gronk not only coming out of retirement, but then potentially joining Tampa Bay, I was like, I don't know. You guys it could be coronavirus boredom. We're just throwing out stories. People are just speculating left and right. But yeah, I agree. There's plenty of talent there. So I'm curious to know, since you do work closely with Tampa Bay, you do have that inside perspective that not everybody else has the opportunity to have. You know, I want to know more about Tampa Bay. Like, let's get to know this potential Super Bowl contender, especially now with Tom Brady joining the team. But I'm curious to know about the guys that were already there that make up the team. So for you having had the chance to have these conversations with players, what's like the mantra or the motto that has really been a big foundation for building this team that, as you mentioned, has always been right there. And this season, we can now see them turning a corner to be a top team in not only NFC South, but in the league.
Yeah, this is an incredible locker room. I have been working in sports, if you go even back to internships in some capacity for, gosh, like 14 years now. And I cannot express how much I have loved the locker rooms that Jason Light has put together in the 5 years that I've been here. It is a team full of guys that know how to be professionals on and off the field and care a lot about this community. I'm so proud of all the community work that they do, that they really do make me proud to be a part of this organization. They all treat me incredibly well. They're fun, they're funny, they're respectful, and it's just an atmosphere where there's never been a time that I have dreaded having to talk to anybody, interview anybody. You know, they're all just truly a joy to work with and around. And it's a great city, and I just think it's one of those things where it's a great place for anyone to come walk into, whether it's Tom Brady or anybody else. You have some good veteran leadership on the team. You have exciting new young guys, and really you have a lot of guys that don't have ego issues, that are humble, and it's just such a great organization. And it's from, Jason Light and Bruce Arians ownership all the way down, that it's just honestly a really fun place to work.
It definitely seems like, without a doubt, there are a lot of, as you've been hinting to and sharing, a lot of great personalities and pieces that build up this, the Bucks already. So as you talk about, it's not a rebuild team. It's not reminiscent of what their record is. You look at a 7-9 record and okay, you can say maybe this is a team that's middle of the barrel, which of course, as you talk about, some of those losses could have gone the other way. And that's the encouraging part about all of this, is that now some of those losses that, a couple plays different could have been a win. You bring in a 6-time Super Bowl champ in Tom Brady and the GOAT, and now that 7-9 record can flip. And that's such an exciting thing. And so I'm sure, as you mentioned, it's without a doubt an exciting time down in Tampa Bay. Yes.
Yes,
So
it is for sure. And it is, I mean, these guys have known how hard they've been working and how close they've come, that with or without Tom Brady, these guys are working their butts off and are giving it everything they have and are great teammates. So I can't even imagine now, when you know that you're playing alongside the GOAT, what that even does to you. So I can't wait to see what the atmosphere is going to be like, but it's already been incredible. So it's hard to even imagine what extra added positivity there even could be.
yes, yes. So, okay, you talk about the locker room. Are there any like inside, like, perspective you can shine on who the Buccaneers are, in terms of, like, do they have something that they regularly do, or a common word or a common theme that really, or even a leader that maybe we're overlooking, that's someone that has really been the heart and soul of this team to get them to this point, that when Tom Brady's looking for a team, or when we're talking about a team that has the potential to have the biggest upswing, it is Tampa Bay. What are we missing? Who are we missing? That's maybe that quieter guy, but in the locker room or in practices, or that key word that everyone's saying, that we're missing on the outside looking in, that has been the heart and soul of helping this team become, as we talk about, a Super Bowl contender.
Okay, so there's two words, and it's Levante David. This
Oh,
guy, let me tell you, he is the most underappreciated linebacker, maybe player, in a really long time. Like, all of us just want to beat the drum of getting Levante more Pro Bowls, more attention, more love. I mean, he really is incredible. And he kind of is that quieter guy. He's not usually the big vocal leader. He definitely will do that when called upon. We had a really tough loss
mhm.
at one point last year against Tennessee, and right after the game, he was the guy in the locker room that was, let's just say, having some words with the team. And you could tell, because of who he is and the fact he's not typically the vocal guy, the impact it left on the team. And he does everything right on and off the field. Everyone on that team loves him. He's been an incredible leader to Devin White after we drafted him. I cannot fathom how he does not get more notoriety and respect. And I'm hoping that now that somebody like Tom Brady comes in, that's going to just shine a light on the organization, that we are a smaller market. And so maybe that's all it's going to take is just more attention because of him, that now that'll get guys like Levante who have earned and deserve this kind of attention for years. It'll finally get them the national attention that they've really been needing for a long time.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like especially for him having been with the Bucks from the beginning of his NFL career, having been someone that's been through the growth of the team, the ups and downs of the team. Yeah, that I could definitely see that he would be the guy, without a doubt. So then I have, another question for you since talking about, as we continue to talk about this team having something special that people may be missing. Was there a moment, an interview, a game, a practice, whatever it may be, where you saw that all clicking, where you saw, you know what, this team really has something special? I feel like whenever a team is underrated in a sense, there's always that defining moment where you see it's like a scene in a movie almost. Like you're like the you see everything really coming together. You see the emotions, the hard work, the sweat, everything really coming together, and it's that clicking moment that defines this team as being more than just their record. Have you seen that in maybe this past season, or maybe it's in an off-season training, whatever it may be, that moment of clarity that this is a team that is very special?
I don't know that there has been one moment. I think that it was more in the moments, ironically, after a loss, when
Okay.
you would see that the guys would know this isn't who we are. That I think that anyone who's been in locker rooms after wins and losses, that you can tell certain wins and losses can mean more. And it just felt like there were times that after certain losses, they weren't just upset because they lost. That always sucks. It was the idea of we should not have lost. And I think there are times that you can tell a team feels like, you know what, they were the better team. We deserve to lose. And I never got that sense from this Buccaneers team, that there was always the extra anger that they felt because they knew what they had in that locker room. And so they knew that this is not how it should be going.
And you know what I love about that is when we were leading up to the Super Bowl and I was doing interviews with different team reporters, players, whatever. Everybody that was talking about the 49ers and the Chiefs was actually saying the exact same things that I'm hearing from you right now. It was like with the 49ers and the Chiefs leading up to the Super Bowl, in their previous seasons, you saw that in the locker room. You saw that feeling after games of disappointment that we should be winning games. You could see both of those teams coming together over the years as they were, working towards being a team that was, in the Chiefs' case, winning Super Bowls. So that's the powerful part about all this, that as I'm hearing you say, it's almost like giving me chills, because I literally had this exact same conversation before the Super Bowl that we're having before the season. So it'll be exciting to see, I'm first of all obviously just excited for sports to come back, but definitely to see Tom Brady, but more importantly, the new look Tampa Bay Buccaneers as they prepare to be, a team coming out of the NFC South and preparing to be a team that, as we talk about, is still in the running come Super Bowl time. So, Casey, where can our listeners follow you on social media? I'm sure everyone is going to be excited to keep up with and follow all this behind the scenes, the interviews, the stories, games around Tampa Bay. Where can they follow you to get all that coverage?
I love it. Yeah. So on Twitter and Instagram, I'm at Casey Reporting, Casey Casey. And then, of course, Buccaneers.com. That's where all of our coverage and everything goes. So, yeah, our team website, we've got a great group of people and producers. So we crank out content that's sort of Hard Knocks like, all the way down through just kind of minute little news recaps of what's going on. So anything that happens with the Bucs, just Buccaneers.com. And then I'm at Casey Reporting on Twitter and Instagram.
Perfect. Casey, I'm excited for you because this is going to be such a special season, a special year to cover the Bucs, and it's going to be a fun one. So thank you for making time to join us on Beyond the Headlines with Renee Washington. It's really been a pleasure having you here to give us some behind-the-scenes looks on the new look Buccaneers. So thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.